Welcome back. We're here again with Let's Talk Veterans Affairs with Dennis Anderson. It is the non-VA affiliated show that nevertheless wants to talk about things that matter to veterans and things that matter to the ones who love them. And maybe the ones who love them will learn a little more about their loved ones along the way, which is a lot of what we want to share.
Yes.
So I'm here with my guest today. He is Navy sailor veteran Colbert Bernard Williams, Sr. Both of us are licensed clinical social workers, which is we're licensed to be therapists, but this is not practice for us. This is friends in conversation. So when we were talking earlier, I heard you made a decision to join the Navy.
Yes.
The Navy put you on a destroyer.
Correct.
Destroyer's off the coast of Vietnam.
Correct.
And what happened there that would result in your having a condition of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD?
Well, the near-death experience that I shared with you of being,
Roger that.
And then when we would come under attack,
Yes.
not knowing, and I explained this to my doctors over the years of, it's an unbelievable feeling that to know that there's a difference maybe between a minute that you can be here or not. And, on a destroyer, we have ASROC missiles and
Yes.
a lot of armament. So if
Okay.
we take a hit, we're probably a powder keg, right?
Very well.
And so that, and then just many other experiences of just, when you're combat, because again, the destroyer, we can't see, sometimes we're doing night missions.
Yes.
And so you don't see, we're getting coordinates from inland, and people would ask me that question, well, how many people did you kill? Well,
That's the question. Don't ask that one, folks.
Yeah.
We're just going to say, find another question.
Yeah.
There are other good questions.
but, you're shooting into an area where you know where that
Yeah.
shell's gonna land,
Right.
somebody's dying,
That's a fair assess.
and so post-traumatic stress disorder, well, on my papers, or my letters, it's written, my doctor, he has atypical, it's a chronic, severe atypical form
Very well.
of post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, you live with that,
Yes.
when you're in combat with so many different things we experience in us, to sit there, okay, I can give you talking points on it, but sometimes you just are kind of conditioned.
Yes.
And so that, I carried with me.
Now, you're a clinician. I mean, you are a therapist qualified.
Yeah.
And one thing that we come to learn about PTSD is, as you say, doesn't go away. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what do you do?
Well, you being a clinician, and I could talk to Dennis and he would understand what I say, but there's a thing called compartmentalization.
Okay.
Sometimes it's disassociative conditions where
Yes.
you disassociate. And my doctors have told me I compartmentalize at a very high level,
Very well.
to where if you were to look at me, well,
No, you look pretty good.
but Dennis,
In fact, you don't even look like a disabled veteran. What about that?
yeah, and I get that often. So also I'm homeless. You don't look homeless either, Colbert. So this is where my survivor guilt kicks in a lot, of where, and it took the VA 7 years to wrap their mind around, as a clinician, you know what the DSM is, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual, where you get these criterias, and, well, are you A, B, C, or D? And if it's no, 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 then
It's the one we put in the book to say, what is your problem and how much is it going to cost the insurance company to treat it?
yeah.
But that's what it is.
Yeah, and so I felt very invisible,
Okay.
because when I came out of the military, I came back from Vietnam, my son was born, and I got reassigned into the dental corps. So I spent the last 3 years working in the dental corps. I was up north, working on with veterans who came back, prisoners of war. That was a phenomenal experience.
Okay.
and then came back to Southern California. You know,
Let me break in for just a second there. You said I felt invisible. What does that mean?
it means that sometimes you know, you hear is somebody even listening to me, you
Okay.
know, and you know,
Fair. Fair
I've
enough.
seen this sometimes. You can see people, and my heart sometimes bleeds for veterans who, we have a variation of injuries, if you will.
Yes.
You have the physical; those are very obvious.
Yep.
And then the emotional ones are variation on the theme. And I can share this with you, Dennis, and to those who are listening. I had two veteran friends that committed suicide. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, when I came back, I wasn't the nicest person.
Right.
I abused alcohol, drugs, some marijuana, this, that, the other, to what? Well, as a clinician.
Did you know why you were doing it? I'll bet you
Absolutely
didn't.
not.
Yeah.
And I was married at the time, and my wife at the time, she took the brunt, and that ended the marriage, right?
Absolutely.
And so then here's another one. I couldn't understand why, I'm not letting people getting close to me, relationships, this, that, the other. I didn't abuse her physically, but just emotional. And there was
And
nothing for us then.
the hurt was also turning in on you.
Oh, yeah. I still carry guilt
Yes, of course.
to this day. And 3 or 4 years into my therapy, I called my ex-wife, and I apologized to
You
her.
made an amend.
She was like, there was silence. What? But, going through, people say post-traumatic stress disorder, and most people, it's something, again, you compartmentalize. And like, I don't go to places where there's crowds of people, et cetera, et cetera. We have those obvious startle responses, this, that, the other. But go ahead.
You don't get over it, but you learn how to live better with it.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in another
Right.
installment.
Right. And may I say this before we end, that one of my psychiatrists asked me, he says, Colbert, did you ever harm any of your patients?
Okay.
That was a fair question. And thought for about 10 seconds. I said, no.
Grace of God.
Yeah. And again, the power and what happened, I became so saturated, Dennis,
Yes.
over the years of compartmentalizing, I had to make a choice to stop.
So that's some of the toll that veterans do live with. And what we hope for is that they can find tools to live better. Now, if you think what we're doing here is worthwhile, please subscribe to Let's Talk Veterans Affairs, and we'll even talk them with old Dennis Anderson.